for the introduction, Olere. Thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Kristen Johnson. I'm the CEO and founder of SCB Luxury Styling. I love to call myself a style savant because I do way more than just styling and putting outfits together. It's really about aligning and helping women to really harmonize their inner beauty with their outer appearance. So making sure that how you feel in the inside is really showcasing on your outside and how you put together your looks, how you show up for yourself, your whole personal brand, your executive presence, all of the things that we'll be talking about today. I've been styling for a little over 10 years at this point, and it kind of just feels like I've been styling for my entire life. But I absolutely am passionate about what I do. I love helping women feel confident in their own skin. I love helping women really determine what their body shape is and really educating women on how to take their measurements, how to determine their body shape, and all the things so that you can really shift your perspective on what style can look like for you. So, again, I'm excited to be here and I cannot wait to answer all of y'all's questions. So, yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Erin. It's such a sorry, Erin, Kristen. I was looking at sorry. Thank you so much, Kristen. Here, it's such a pleasure to have you here with us today, and we are really, really excited. We're really excited for the topic that we have at hand today. So the topic we're discussing today is executive presence. I know it's a word that most of us here might have heard thrown around a lot. And some people might be wondering what it is. So that's what we're going to be breaking down today, executive presence and how you can craft a powerful personal brand. We touched a bit on personal brand yesterday, but today we are diving deep. So this is what we're going to be covering today. So Kristen, what would you define executive? Like I said, it's a word that we've heard a lot. And like I said yesterday, I like to give context to words because sometimes we think we know the meaning of a word until we actually look it up and you think and you find out, oh, I don't know everything about this word. So what is executive presence?
Yeah. So my definition of executive presence is a combination of your personality traits that make you that dynamic leader, that authentic and effective leader that you were created to be. So just a combination of things like your confidence, how you show up, how you make decisions, how you do things, why you do things. And it kind of ties into your personal brand too. But executive presence is really just like your poise, your confidence, your gravitas, how you show up in the spaces that you take up. And that's what we're going to talk more about today. So that's my definition. That is my definition of executive presence.
Hmm, thank you so much, Kristen. As we progress, we're still going to expatiate on that. But
Yeah.
we've talked about executive presence now. What would you define as a personal brand?
Yeah. So your personal brand is slightly different. So for me, I like to define my personal brand as why I do things and how I do things. It's my own unique identity. It's your own unique identity, how you showcase yourself and all the things. So some of the components of that I always like to say is how and then why. So I like to start with my why. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you making the decisions that you're making? Why are you helping people with the problem that they have? Why exactly are you doing that? I know for me, as what I used to call myself, a personal stylist, I recently changed my name to Style Savant because I went back to the drawing board and I said to myself, I'm like, okay, well, I know what I love to do. I know what I want to do. I know what I am doing for my clients and for women who I come into contact with. But why exactly am I doing it? And some of us may have a bunch of reasons as to why. I mean, obviously, entrepreneurship is something that we all want for the most part. I mean, we want to be able to create our own lifestyle. We want to be able to do all these things in our own time. And that's just a part of it. But another reason why is because I know for me, I personally struggled with confidence. I personally struggled with showing up for myself, advocating for myself. I personally struggled with my body shape and feeling comfortable in my own skin. So when I was able to get to the other side of that, when I was able to come through that or overcome that, I knew that I had to, it was only right that I had to come back and help other women to be able to do the same thing. So that is my why. So think about why you do what you do as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, even just as a professional. I know many of you may not own businesses. You may not be a business owner, but you work a 9 to 5, you're a professional, and you show up in spaces every day. But you do it for a reason. You don't just do it for the paycheck. At least I would hope not. But you do it for a reason. So think about why you do that. And that all ties into your personal brand. So to kind of talk about the how you do things. So a lot of the reasons as to why I do things, I also do it a certain way because of my why and all of those things. So like how I show up, what I'm wearing today, how I conduct business, how I treat my clients, how I do certain things in my business or just in my everyday life really represents who I am and it really aligns with my personal brand. So think about how you do things. A lot of things that do other personal stylists or other style savants don't do, which makes me unique and makes us different. We take a lot of our experiences, a lot of we've experienced, a lot of what we've gone through, and that makes up the reason why we do things. And that also leads to how we do things as well. So really think about those two things when it pertains to your personal brand. And of course, I feel like a lot of us assume that personal brand is just like the colors, our content, our logo, how we, show up on social media. And that's a part of it. But for me, the two underlying things that really like stand out when it comes to personal brand is why you do things and how you do them. So that is me.
Interesting. I love that, Kristen. How you do things and why you do things.
Mm,
Would you say, Kristen, since personal brand is how you do things and why you do things, so if someone hasn't dialed down yet on their why and their how, would you say such a person still has a personal brand? Or is a personal brand only after you have figured out this is my why and this is my how?
That's a good question. I mean, I think we all have our own personal brands. I think we all were created for a purpose and to do certain things. And sometimes it takes us a while to really realize what that purpose is or really understand like our why and why we were put on this earth. And I know for me, I started by just doing what everybody else was doing as a stylist. One of my stylist friends are on here, Tone. She was one of the first stylists that I actually assisted with on set. And I really learned like how to work with others and how to conduct business and just collaborate. A lot of that was from experience working with her. So I say that to say when I first started, I kind of just like did what everybody else was doing, or I guess you can say I kind of did my research and tried a bunch of different things. But as I continued to mature in my career, I paid attention to the things that made sense for me. I paid attention to my preferences. I paid attention to the things that I liked about being a stylist. And I also paid attention to a lot of things that I didn't like. And from that experience and from really, doing my research, I was able to really craft my own unique identity with that. So, we can all be doing the same thing, but how we do it and why we do it makes us different, makes us unique. So to answer your question, I do believe everybody has a personal brand. I don't, I wouldn't say that you necessarily have to know your how and your why right up front, but just an understanding of like, the reason as to what you're doing. It has to be some type of reason as to why you're doing something, if that makes sense. And for me in the beginning, my reason and my why was completely different from what it is now. So, like your personal brand, you as a person, you're going to evolve as you get older, as you learn more about yourself, as you learn more about your audience, your clients, as you learn more about the brand or the company that you work with, you learn more and you become better and you pay more attention to what makes sense for you and you kind of fall back on the things that don't make sense or, the things that don't bring out the best part of you. So I hope that answered your question.
Very well, Kristen. Thank you so much. Just to pick bits and pieces from what you just said, um, the personal brand is something that everyone has, right? Because some people think that a personal brand is only if I have an online presence, maybe I share my thoughts, my ideas online, that's when I have a personal brand. But you just made it clear that whether or not you know your why or your how, you have a personal brand nonetheless. You have a personal
Yeah.
brand, but dialing in on that why and how is what really stands you out. And that
Exactly.
leads me to my next question. You kind of answered it a bit, but I think you'd have to throw more light on it because we're going to go deeper now. What would you say makes up a powerful personal brand? Because from what you've said, your journey in styling, and personally, I had a similar experience when I got into styling initially. I called myself a personal stylist.
Mm.
And I had to dial it down to what really am I offering my clients? I had to dial it down to who exactly is my ideal client? Who is my ideal client?
Right.
Um, because there was something that happened that actually kind of a light bulb kind of went up in my
Mhm.
head was when I had a consultation with someone. And the usual questions that you ask when you are trying to know how you can help a prospective client, right? So I was asking her certain questions because I wanted to know what she was dealing with so I know how best I can help her. And then she goes, oh, she doesn't have any issues. She's actually 100% okay with her style. And that was when
Mm.
I understood that there's something wrong. There's something I'm missing about my personal branding. There's a way I'm not portraying the message that's not landing right because you come here to seek a consultation on styling and you say you're okay with your style. So why are you trying to fix what's not broken? Right. So I realized there's a problem with my
Mhm.
branding, with how I'm presenting my messaging. It's a branding problem. And I had to go to the drawing board. I had to even work with a coach to say, help me
Mm.
dial this down. So um, that's what I'm asking again. What are the elements that make a powerful personal brand? Because it's not okay to just have a personal brand. The catch is having a compelling and a powerful personal brand. And I guess that's what everyone here would want. How can I have a powerful personal brand that resonates with my ideal client? Or even if
Yeah.
you are at work, even if you work in 9 to 5, how do I have a powerful personal brand that resonates with my higher ups, right? With
Yeah.
people that have the power to move and shape things as related to my career. So what would you say to that, Kristen?
Yeah. So my top three things are going to be your skill set. That's number one. You probably can't see my finger. Your skill
Mm,
set, your confidence, and your appearance. And of course, appearance is going to be a part of it because that's what I do. That's what I'm all about. How you show up, how you showcase yourself. But those other two things, your skill set and your confidence, play a huge part in your personal brand. And I know for me, that was something that I really had to figure out and I had to understand, like, okay, my skill set. A lot of what I learned as a stylist was trial and error. A lot of what I learned was from experience, styling myself, styling other women, really learning about different body shapes, really learning about how bodies are proportioned, what colors look good with other colors, what styles flatter certain body shapes, like your skill set. So if you're not a stylist, there are other industry experts on here, I'm sure. Think about your skill set, like really making sure that you really understand what exactly it is the problem that you're solving for your client or for whoever it is that you're working for or all of the things. So we're problem solvers as service providers, as professionals. We're problem solvers. So if you're not solving a problem, to be honest, you're not really doing anything. So it's important to understand your skill set because your skill set is what helps you to solve the problem that your client or the business or whoever is having that you're working with. Now, confidence is something that doesn't come easy to everybody, but I believe everybody is born with confidence. It's just a matter of understanding how to really pull that confidence out of you. And that's something that took me a minute to truly figure out. Like, if this was me, probably like 5 or 6 years ago, I would be extremely nervous, extremely scared to talk on this platform, knowing that it's over almost 200 participants on here staring at me while I'm talking. Like this can be scary for a lot of people. But I know for me, there are a lot of things that make up my confidence, but consistency is one of the things that really, I would say, is the biggest thing that helps me to be extremely confident. And when I say consistency, I mean, I'm doing the same thing over and over again, and I'm doing it scared. Like, I'm doing it scared. I'm saying yes when things align with my personal brand and when things align with my overall goals and my mission and my vision. I'm saying yes to things, even when I'm afraid, even when I'm scared. And 9 times out of 10, when you're scared or when you're afraid, you're probably doing something that you're meant to do. And it's going to be scary, especially if it's your first time because you've never done it before. I've never spoken on a summit before, but I've spoken on a ton of virtual events, a ton of virtual workshops. I've conducted my own in-person workshops, done this before, but I've never actually spoken on a global summit. So this I said yes to. I'm thankful that I was able to say yes to it, but it was scary. My heart was beating before I came on here. But because I've done it so many times, I now have the confidence enough to do it again and to keep doing it and to do it better with every time. Now, to hit on appearance, appearance is a big deal. And I will say, I know a lot of people think like, oh, it's shallow, like what I look like doesn't matter, it's what I do that matters. And what you do matters, what you do definitely matters. Like your skill set, your accolades, everything that you've accomplished, all of that matters. But in order for people to really gravitate towards you, and in order for people to really see you as the person that you were created to be, you have to look a certain way. You have to be approachable. You have to, of course, be confident in knowing that you're the expert, but you also have to be relatable too to the person that you are essentially speaking to. And you could still be an expert. You could still know a bunch and still be relatable to the person that you're talking to. I'm relatable to a lot of my clients in a bunch of different ways. So for me, I always want to show up as an expert. I always want to show up as someone who is going to be taken seriously. And that was a big deal for me. As a young professional, I'm 30. A lot of my clients are in their 40s and 50s. So many of them are older than me. And for a long time, I'm like, okay, people are going to assume that I look young. Like, I still get carded when I'm out, y'all. Like, people still think I'm like 18. So for me, it's like, okay, what can I do to be taken seriously? What can I do to show up as someone who is a young professional, a young entrepreneur? And my style is how I do that. So I wear certain colors, I wear certain styles, I wear certain things that truly align with my personal brand and my personal self. And that helps me to also be confident in who I am. And when I'm dressed good, I feel good and I feel super confident. So though I would say those are the top three things that really make up you know, but I was going to say personal brand. I completely forgot the question that you asked, number one, because I talked myself into a hole. But those are the top three things to answer your question, confidence, skill set, and appearance, for me, at
That
least.
makes up a powerful personal brand. A powerful personal
Yes.
brand is what we're talking about. Interesting. Thank you so much, Kristen. You talked about skill sets. confidence, and appearance. And I think it's very, very, I think it's so complete. It's so complete skill set because if you do not have, if you're not good at what you do, how can you say you have a powerful personal brand? How can you build a powerful personal brand if you're not grounded at what you do? And then you
Yeah.
spoke on confidence, and I liked that you said confidence, it comes from consistency as well. You talked about you haven't spoken on a global summit like this, but you have done other things. You've organized events by yourself, you've done virtual events, and we touched on this yesterday as well. I was talking about something that I heard recently. Someone said, you cannot be confident because you are the only one that's ever heard all the lies that you have told, right?
Mm.
The lies you have told, the promises you didn't keep to yourself. You are the only one that knows it. You're the only one
Mm.
that knows them. So the more promises you cannot keep to yourself, when you break your word to yourself, when you are not consistent in the little things, and we'll speak on your faith as well, because the Bible says, who is faithful in little will be faithful in much.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right? So who is faithful in little will be faithful in much. So if
Yeah.
you cannot be consistent, even when you are starting out, then you can never get to that point where you actually want to be.
Mm.
So I like that you talked on that. And then appearance. I
Mm.
also like that you stated the fact that appearance is something that's so overlooked. It's
Mhm.
so overlooked. It's always something that people put on the back seat and think. I mean, my brains should count for something. You know, my brains should be everything that matters. People should look on the inside. Well, I say the Bible clearly told us, man looks at the outward appearance because we are not God. It's God that looks at the heart. It's God that knows that, yes, I have virtue. Yes, I have brains. Yes, I have skill. But wouldn't it be more impactful if my outward matched up with my inward?
Yeah. Yeah.
How amazing would that be? Ladies, I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're taking notes.
Yeah.
Kristen
Yeah. And
is
one
dropping
thing,
gems. Kristen is
one
dropping
thing
gems.
I wanted to add, yeah, sorry to cut you off. One thing I wanted to add, I was just thinking as you were talking, like really think of it as like your outfit kind of pulls people in. Like what you
Mm,
look like from on the outside, it pulls people in, it attracts people. And
mm,
who you are on the inside keeps people there. Like they
mm,
won't actually be attracted to you if you don't look like I said, relatable or approachable.
mm,
Some people may not be interested in getting to know you. They may not be interested in speaking to you, but other
mm,
people are. And they're attracted to you by how you look. They're
mhm,
attracted to you by how you're showing up. And when they actually have a conversation with you and you open your mouth, that's what keeps people there. So
mm,
I hope that, makes it a little bit more digestible for y'all to understand how important it is to really show up with your appearance.
mm,
Because that all adds and plays a part into your overall personal brand.
mm. Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much. Ladies, if you are catching these gems that Kristen is dropping, please leave the fire emoji in the chat. You already know what to do. You know how we did it yesterday. Leave the fire emoji. I want Kristen to know how much gems she's actually dropping. Please leave the fire emoji. And please, what I need you to do as well, take a screenshot of your screen. Take a screenshot of your screen. Post this on your stories. Tag me. Let people know what is going down here. Tag me. Tag Kristen on Instagram. Udeme, please leave my Instagram, leave Kristen's Instagram, tag Kristen, tag me on Instagram. Let's spread the word. Let's tell people what is going on in here because it's really, 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 really hot in here. Really, really hot. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you so much. Kristen, were you saying something?
No, just laughing and excited that all the women are enjoying the conversation. I'm
Sure.
looking at all the fire emojis in the chat.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much, Kristen. So, Kristen, you know, we have lots of executive women here. We're mostly female leaders here. How important would you say is for a woman in leadership to have a personal brand? How
Yeah,
important is it something that's important to have a powerful personal brand? Is it something that's necessary? Is it something we can do without? How important would you say a personal brand is to a female leader, to a female executive?
yeah, it's super important. You should definitely have a personal brand as a leader, as an executive, all of the things. Because as leaders, people, that means if you're a leader, someone's following you, or people are following you, or you're leading, you're guiding someone. So you're literally setting the example for the people that are coming up from behind you or coming up after you. You have to have a strong, executive presence, a strong personal brand because you're setting the tone. You're setting the tone for those individuals who are coming up after you. And if you don't have that, how are they going to follow in the right footsteps? How are they going to know what's right and what's wrong? So, yes, 100%, it's important for you to have a personal brand as a leader.
Kristen, so would you say that a personal brand can impact a leadership's impact, a leader's impact, rather? Would you say personal brand can impact a leader's impact, whether it's on their clients, whether it's on their team? Would you say that a strong, a powerful personal brand can impact how impactful a leader is?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like a lot of how I got to where I am currently is because I have such a great personal brand. And I say that to say people who don't even know me, just like Olere, like she had no idea who I was, but she came across my social media. She came across my website. She came across how I showcase myself online and she was able to relate to it. She was able to truly understand and receive the energy that I was giving off without even meeting me first. So I say that to say, I mean, it's super important to have a personal brand as a leader. Even when people are meeting you for the first time, it's only about, what do they say? I think about 6 to 8 seconds that people
Mm-hmm.
make a judgment or they make an impression about you when you meet them for the first time. So you really don't have much time to make a good impression on someone. So for me, the easiest way to make a good impression quick is by your outfit. Because sometimes 7 seconds, like you really, that really only takes up the amount of time that you are introducing yourself. Hi, my name is 7 seconds is gone. So the easiest way to really make a powerful impact on someone you don't know or you may be meeting for the first time is how you're dressed. And even also how your face looks, like your facial expression. And I don't mean like makeup or like lipstick. I mean like you're excited to be in the room, like you're smiling, you look happy. And I know that's something
Mm-hmm.
that I had to work on too, because as like, powerful women, we want to be taken seriously. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we have certain looks on our faces that don't look very nice. And I've been
Mm-hmm.
told that quite a few times. So it's something I had to work on. And it's like, oh, as soon as you speak to me, I'm happy, I'm excited, but I may not
Mm-hmm.
look that way before I open my mouth. So just making sure you practice in the mirror. And that's something I'm working on too. Like practicing looking pleasant, looking happy. I mean, I'm always happy to be in the room, but I want to make sure that my facial expressions and my body language showcases that too, on top of what I'm wearing. So all of that kind of goes in line with that.
Mm-hmm. And to add to that, Kristen, when you're talking about appearance, what you wear, I think that what is what doing at all is what doing well. right? I say if you're going to wear clothes, why not wear it right? You're going to wear clothes anyways.
Yeah,
You don't walk around naked. So if you're going to wear clothes, why not wear it right? Thank you so
right.
much, Kristen. That was really, really, really powerful. Someone might be thinking, Kristen, we talked about executive presence and how it's important in personal branding.
Mhm.
Someone might think, executive presence, how do I really get executive presence? Is it something that you're born with? Is it something you can develop? What would you say to that, Kristen?
Yeah, so very similar to confidence. I think we're all born with a lot of the things that we quote unquote wish that we had. It's really just a matter of pulling it out of us, finding the best way to pull it out of us, so that we can, show up for ourselves and the people that we were created to serve. So, like, I always talk about these four things to enhance your executive presence as a woman leader, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, professional, all the things. So for me, it's all style based, of course. So, four ways to enhance your executive presence. Number one is to really know your size. So a lot of women do not know their sizes. And it's so, I get how like scary it is to like look at a number and feel
Mm,
like, oh, it's changing or it's different from what it used to be. But I always say, like, our bodies were never meant to stay the same. Our bodies were meant to change. Our bodies are meant to evolve just like we evolve as people. So, for many of you who have children, you've had kids, like your body has changed. Maybe you went through like a weight loss journey. Maybe
mm,
you've gained weight. Like our bodies are constantly changing. So know your sizes. And one tip that I always give my clients is taking your measurements every quarter. So I know that you guys will get access to my ebook, the Body Shape Bible. It's my signature ebook that I created that really breaks down what each body shape is, how to take your measurements, how to determine your body shape, and how to know like what styles actually flatter your shape. And personally, for me, to recreate the body shapes because a lot of the body shapes that we see online and in other websites or maybe even body shapes that other stylists may be talking about, I didn't like being called a banana. I didn't like being called an apple. I didn't like being called a rectangle, and I'm sure y'all don't either. So I actually recreated the body shapes to be a little bit more enticing and positive so that no matter what size you are, you feel good and confident about yourself, but you actually have to do the work first. So you have to actually be comfortable and confident enough to get to know your body, take your measurements so you can know your sizes. Number two, four ways to enhance your executive presence. Number two is choosing the proper styles that really flatter your shape. So
mm.
once you actually know what your sizes are, you'll be able to determine what your body shape is. And this is with the help of the Body Shape Bible. And this is what I take all of my clients through as well. So once they actually know your body shape, you can know how or what styles actually best flatter your shape. Just because someone else is wearing something and it looks good on them doesn't mean it's going to look great on you. And that's okay. Not every style is great for everybody, and that's perfectly fine. When you get a lot of these, I guess, I don't know how to explain it, but when you get a lot of these like understandings through your head and you like digest them, you feel a lot better. And I think for me, well, I know for me, that's my biggest goal is to really shift women's perspective when it comes to style. Because a lot of us have like these certain guidelines or these certain restrictions that we put ourselves on because of what other people have said, or what other people have told us to do. And for a long time, like I said, I was conforming to what everybody thought a personal stylist was supposed to be. And it wasn't until year nine, honestly, year 10, when I finally said, okay, I'm not showing up as the stylist that I want to be. So what do I need to do? Let me go back to the drawing board. Let me really talk through my why and truly understand like why I'm doing this. So I really had to do that, and it made it a lot easier for me to not just talk about style, but to also talk about like, okay, some of the limiting beliefs that we've put on ourselves throughout our
Mhm.
journeys. A lot of the things that people have said about us, a lot of the things that people have um, lied to us about, we are believing those things. And many of those things are lies. Many of those things are not true. And a lot of those things have to do with our body. Like if you're a size 14, you know, you're considered fat or you're considered plus size. And it's like, okay, but that's not a bad thing. It's not.
Mhm.
And just because you're not a size 6 or not a size 0 doesn't mean you're not attractive or doesn't mean you're not beautiful. Like none of that really matters. So as long as you actually know that about yourself and you truly understand that, you'll feel a lot different about style. So I hope that made sense. So two more, 4 ways to enhancing your executive presence. Don't be afraid to play around with color and patterns. Many of us are so stuck to black or like neutrals. And neutrals are great. Like I'm wearing a neutral right now. I love it. I enjoy black every once in a while. But don't be afraid to play around with color. Color is something else to me that helps to build my confidence. Color is certain colors make me happy. They make me feel good. They make me feel positive. They make me excited. I mean, if we all wore the color yellow, like yellow makes you smile, green makes me feel fresh and energized. So, like, really finding your color, finding what I like to call your new neutral. Find your new neutral, something that's not black, something that's not white, something that's not navy, possibly, but find your new neutral and start incorporating that into what you're wearing every day. And it doesn't have to be like going from an all black suit to an all red suit. You could take baby steps. Maybe you can
Mhm.
do a red shoe with a gray suit. Maybe you can do a nice scarf to accentuate, you know, whatever style top you're wearing. Playing around with jewelry, playing around with lipstick colors or even nail colors. So really not being afraid to, you know, step outside of your comfort zone and do something different. And then last but not least, I think this is one of the most important things, but really defining your style uniform. So when I say uniform, I don't mean like wearing the same thing every day. I mean, really understanding like what pieces make up the perfect look that makes you feel the most confident. So, for example, for me, my style uniform that makes me feel the most confident, and I have a bunch, but the one that's at the top of my list is going to be a blazer, a blouse, or a layering piece, and then a pair of wide leg pants, whether they be trousers or jeans. So, those 3 pieces are my style uniform, one of my favorite style uniforms, and they make me feel extremely confident. So figure out what your style uniform is, whether it be a blazer and a dress, whether it be a top and a pair of trousers, whatever it is. Really think about what your style uniform is and start to really consider that when you're getting dressed every day. And many of y'all may already have a style uniform. You just never put a name to it. So really think of that when you're getting dressed every day. But those are the top 4 things that I would say help to enhance your executive presence. So I'll do a quick recap. Number 1 was truly knowing your size. And you do that by taking your measurements every quarter and keeping up with it. And you'll be able to do that as well by using the Body Shape Bible. Number 2 is choosing the proper styles that flatter your shape. Number 3 is not being afraid to play around with colors and patterns. And then number 4 is defining your style uniform. So if you walk through each of these steps or each of these tips, you'll be able to enhance your executive presence.
Oh, thank you so much, Kristen. You know, I love so much that you talked about executive presence from the standpoint of style, because
Mhm.
it's not something that we hear often. And now, ladies, you're hearing that refining your style, dialing down on that style that works for you can greatly, greatly impact your executive presence. Kristen talked about knowing your size, knowing your proper style, your colors, stepping out of your comfort zone instead of always wearing black, black, black. And we're going to deal with colors down the line. I think tomorrow we're dealing with colors actually. We have a color analyst, so we're going to talk about power colors more
Mm,
there. But Kristen, I just want you to expatiate a little bit on something. The style uniform. We talked about developing a uniform or a style uniform. And I know that's what we call the signature, having a signature style. It's what I personally call having a signature style. And we talked a bit about this yesterday with yesterday's
mm.
guest. But I know some people here when we're not here yesterday. And of course, you're going to have your own unique take and twist on your signature style slash uniform, like you called it. Someone here might be thinking, like someone asked yesterday, isn't it boring or monotonous to have a uniform or to have a signature style? Is it not more fun to be dynamic, to just wear anything, I feel like? Why is it really important to have a style uniform?
Yeah, well, one, it's easy. So I know many of you may be busy. Many of you may wear a bunch of different hats. You might be a wife, a mom, a daughter, a business owner, a professional. So a lot of my clients don't have a lot of time. So when you're in, I personally don't have a ton of extra time, to focus on certain things or to even pour into certain things. So I try my best to do things that help me to save time. And one of those things is having a style uniform or really truly choosing pieces that align with my personal brand. Even having a capsule wardrobe, that's something that I always talk about with my clients. And one of the biggest things is helping you to save time. When you know, like, what pieces really flatter your shape best, when you know what looks good on you, when you know what makes you feel confident, you can easily, if you have a capsule wardrobe that aligns with all of that, you can easily go in and grab, like, okay, I'm gonna wear this today, I'm gonna wear this today, and you'll be able to get ready in 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. But you'll know, what is the right thing to choose, and it saves you time and stress. Many of you may spend a lot of time in the mornings trying to figure out what to wear because you just don't know. And I'm trying to help women to get away from that because wasting time just standing in front of your closet, not knowing what to wear, like that takes up a lot of time from what you could be doing and where you could be focusing your time. So I think a style uniforms helps with that. A style uniform also, like I mentioned, helps with confidence. So, like knowing what looks great on you, knowing the proper colors, knowing the proper styles. And when you have your own signature style, you will gravitate towards certain things. You will gravitate towards what looks good on you and what makes sense for you. You might not necessarily be wearing the same thing every day. That's not what I want you guys to think that I'm saying. But I would like to describe my style as chic, as comfortable, and what else? Classic. So a lot of the pieces that I'm wearing are classic pieces that will never go out of style. A lot of the pieces that I'm wearing are chic and stylish, and they look good on me and they make me feel good, but they all don't look the same. Like I don't have one thing in my closet. I have one of everything in my closet. Like I don't have one thing in a bunch of different colors. I know some women do that. Personally, that's not something I do. All of my pieces are very different from each other. And I like that because I like to switch things up, but I switch things up in a way that still aligns with my personal style and my personal brand. Today I have on like trouser shorts, but yesterday I had on denim shorts. And the day before that, I had on a dress. It's not the same exact thing every day. They all align and they all have that same type style that makes sense for my signature style. And one thing that I didn't mention too, I know a lot of women, a lot of you may be thinking like, okay, well, how do I determine my personal style? How do I really figure that out? Well, some of the things that I like to talk about is, of course, understanding your body, understanding your sizes, how your body is proportioned. That's the first thing to do. Making sure you know your size, making sure you're choosing the proper sizes, and also your lifestyle. Think about what you do every day. I say this all the time. Just because someone else is wearing something and it looks great on them doesn't mean that that piece will make sense for you. Many of y'all who are business owners or professionals or executives, blazers are something that, I love. And that's something that you probably need in your wardrobe. But for someone who isn't an executive or isn't a business owner or who isn't a professional and they're more of a creative, maybe they're more of a freelancer, blazers may not make sense for them. So really thinking about your personal style, what you do every day, or I'm sorry, thinking about your lifestyle, what you do every day. If you're working from home versus going into an office, all of those things play a part in your overall lifestyle. And when you truly understand your lifestyle and what you're doing every day, you'll make better decisions, make more intentional decisions about what you're choosing for your wardrobe and what you're choosing to wear and how you really conform or define your outfit, your uniform, your style uniform. So I hope that makes sense.
Oh, makes a lot of sense, Christine. Thank you. And just to add to what you said, plus the style uniform, what I personally call the signature style, is something that speaks to me a lot because it's something that I also help my clients do in my practice. Because I think that it's very essential. It's a very essential piece in your personal brand. I always say it's not enough to just put clothes together. Anyone can do that. Anyone can put anyone can put clothes together, right? But having a distinct style, having something that sets you apart. Because think of it, ladies. Let's think of it. Let's think of the most powerful, the most influential women that we know. Let's think of someone like Michelle Obama. She has a way about her. She has a style about her. Let's think about someone like Oprah Winfrey. Let's even come to Nigeria here. Let's think about someone like Chimamanda. And I like what you said, Kristen, about your style being in alignment with your lifestyle. Because if you choose to wear a suit or to shop for suits, and you know you're not in a corporate space, you know you're not even in an environment that really permits it. For example, Nigeria is a very humid country. So imagine you shopping lots of suit pieces when you are not in corporate, where you don't work a 9 to 5 that requires that. You end up having a wardrobe full of clothes that you don't wear, and that's what brings that kind of issue. So back to someone like Chimamanda, you can see she has this quirk about her style. She has this quirk about her. Even we talked about what's her name, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala yesterday. We talked about her yesterday, and we talked about how people bash her for her style because she has a very plain, kind of relaxed style. She doesn't do much when it comes to her style. But I also like to think that in a way, it's her signature. She kind of wears similar things every time. And sometimes it's also something I have to tell people too. When people say, when people when people have resistance towards crafting their personal style, Kristen, people say things like, well, see someone like Mark Zuckerberg, see someone like um, was this the founder of Apple, Steve Jobs. He had a very plain style. He was a billionaire. See, Mark Zuckerberg, he always wears great tees. He's a billionaire. And I tell them that, okay, maybe that's their style, right? At least they know they know what works for them. They know something that they like, and they don't care about the opinions of others. But what you wear, have you asked yourself, is it truly a representation of me? Right? Is it truly what I like? Is it truly in alignment with my brand? We're talking about personal brand. So from what you said, your style uniform is something that's in alignment with you. It's not just wearing, it's not repetition, it's not something that you just wear. It's not, you don't have to wear the same thing every day. I myself, for example, red lipstick is part of my signature style. I love red lipstick. You mostly
Same.
see me wear red lipstick. Another of my signature style is my big hair. And Kristen, I would think part of your signature style is even how you wear your hair too, because
Mhm.
it's very distinct, right? It stands
Yes.
you out the way your hair is shaped, the way it's cut. So it's all a total package, ladies. It's all a
Mhm.
total package. And if you really want to build executive presence, which is an important part of your of the impact that you have as a leader, then you want to dial in on your style. More importantly, you want to dial in on your style uniform, as Kristen said. Thank you so much, Kristen. I think, oh my God, you've dropped so much gems. Please, where are those fire emojis? Please, if you are grasping what Kristen is dropping, please um drop those fire emojis. Drop those fire emojis. Well, someone said I sound better. Yes, my flu is clearing, thank God.
Mhm.
We'll see how many fire emojis we have. Please hope you're tagging Kristen on Instagram. Hope you're tagging me on Instagram. Just post on your stories. I promise to repost. Someone from my team is doing that. Please make sure you are reposting. Make sure you are reposting. So, Kristen, we've talked a lot. We've broken down personal style. We've broken down personal brand. We've even talked about how your style is a very important part of your executive presence. But now I would kind of want us to tie everything together because I think someone might be wondering, how do we tie everything together? So what would you say is the correlation between your personal style and your personal brand? And how does both your personal style and brand further even impact your executive presence as a female leader?
Yeah. So I would say the first thing that came to mind was just your why, your intentionality, like being intentional about the choices that you're making every single day. And that's, I mean, that outside of your style, like, where are you going? Where are you eating? Where are you working? Who are you conducting business with? Like, the reason why you do things really allows everything else to fall into place when you're clear with that, if that makes sense. So when it comes to your style, being intentional about why you're wearing certain colors, even down to the brand, like many of you may really support and love certain brands, and many of you may not support or love certain brands. So for those brands that you don't support or those brands that you don't love, you're not shopping with those brands. And that's very intentional. So intentionality is where it all starts. And you can be intentional when you really understand like why you're doing things, why you were put on this earth, what your purpose is, what problem you're solving. All of that ties into your why. And when you understand your why, you can be more intentional about the decisions that you're making when it comes to your style and when it comes to just your business, your personal brand, all of the things. So your why is what sets the foundation for everything, in my opinion.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Kristen. So your why you need to dial in on your why. You need to dial in on your why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And Kristen, I think even as a style savant, you as a style coach that I am, I think it even the why even boils down to even how we relate to our clients. Because when
Mhm.
I'm working with a client, I want to know what's your why. I want to work on my style, yes, but why? Why do you want to work on your style? Because
Yeah.
style is a tool, right? It's a tool. And
Hmm.
we talked about this yesterday as well. Just as money is a tool, money is never the end goal. Oh, I want to make money, but you want to make money for a reason, right? You
Yeah.
want to be happy, you want to be free, you want to make sure you can take care of your parents, you want to make sure that if there's an emergency in your family, there's
Yeah.
there's a resources to do that. So it's the same thing with your style. You have to know
Mhm.
your why. You have to have a why. Why do I want to work on my style? What is it going to help me achieve? Because another thing I think, Kristen, is it helps you stay on course, right? If I
Mhm.
know that I am building a powerful personal brand, if I know that I'm going to get on a board, if I know that if this is my big why, then I understand that my style is a tool. Then I
Yeah.
know that I I have to stay true to the cause. It helps me, even with discipline, it helps me stay on course. So it boils
Yeah.
down really to your why. I love so much that you talked about
Yeah.
that. Not everyone thinks about style. Like you said, style is
Mhm.
something that's easily trivialized, right? It seems like
Mhm.
it's not um it's not that important. I'd rather spend my time doing more important things. But when you understand that your style could be a very useful tool, um, for your why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Understand
And
that?
even your goals too. I know you mentioned your goals. I think that plays a huge part in that intentionality piece. I know
Mm-hmm.
for me personally, when I decided that I wanted to be a stylist, I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? I know
Mm-hmm.
the end goal is to be a style expert, to be a stylist for women all over the world. What do I need to do in that in between time to get to that point? So
Mm-hmm.
when you know your end goal, or when you know even just a future goal, whether it be short term or long term,
Okay,
you
please
set
read
yourself
this
up.
handle. People asking for her handle on Instagram. Please leave her handle on the chat.
And I'll drop
Or
it
if you
in
can even leave the link,
my
I think the link will be easy for people to just click. So leave the link so it's easy for people to
mhm.
just click and then follow her on Instagram.
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, when you know your end goal, it makes it a lot easier to be intentional about the decisions that you're making. And it also allows your why to like make sense as well. So like I
Mm-hmm.
was saying, when I decided to become a stylist, I'm like, okay, I'm in college. I was in college at the time. I was studying business management and entrepreneurship. I had no idea that I knew I wanted to own my own business, but I had no idea what type of business I wanted to run. It wasn't until, I guess a year later or 2 years later, I'm like, okay, I think fashion is going to be the business. Styling is going to be the business. So what do I need to do to create that? What do I need to do to gain the proper expertise? Because at the time, I didn't have any styling experience. Only client I ever had was myself. So I'm like, okay, what do I need to do to, get to this point? So when you truly understand like your goals and your end goal, where you see yourself, where you envision yourself, it becomes a lot easier for you to make the proper choices, the proper decisions, and to be intentional about that. So I definitely wanted to piggyback off that because I felt like the goals is definitely also something important that I did mention. So I'm glad you
Mm-hmm.
brought that up.
Mm. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kristen. So important to dial in on your why. And ladies, we're going to have a Q&A after this. So just write down your questions so you don't forget them. I know at every stage of our conversation, you're going to be having questions. So please just write your questions down. We'll take out time. Kristen will take out time to answer your questions. Kristen, you talk a lot about your faith. And as a Christian, it's something that I can relate to 100%. You talk about your faith. And I know there are Christians here, and there are Christians that think that God doesn't really care about what I look like. If God doesn't care about what I
Mhm.
look like, why should I care what anyone thinks about what I look like? So, what would you say as a Christian? Do you think that's true? Do you think God doesn't care about how we look? We can present ourselves anyhow we want to, and God doesn't really care. As long as we love God, we serve God, God doesn't really care about what we look on the outside. And I want you to even talk about this as women, especially. What do
Mhm.
you think? What would you say about that, Kristen?
Yes, I want to start by saying the scenario. So I was watching a sermon not too long ago, and the pastor mentioned something that really stuck out to me, and it put a lot of things into perspective. So he basically said, when you see those parents out there with their children out in public, walking around, and the parents are like dressed up, dressed to the nines, got their hair cut, got nice clothes on, nice shoes, the accessories, like they look good. And then you look at their kids, and their kids look crazy. They have pajamas on, they have slobber coming out their mouth, their hair isn't combed, like it's crazy. But as someone from the outside looking in, you don't look at the child. You don't say, oh, why would the child dress themselves like
Mm,
that? Why would they do that? You look at the parent.
Mm,
Why would the parent allow their child to leave out of the house like
mm,
that? So think of it in the same way as you being the child and God being your father. You are representing him when you
mhm,
walk outside your door every day. So if you leave out the house with your hair not combed, crust in your
mm,
eye, looking crazy, and you're a Christian, people are going to be like, you're representing God like that? That doesn't make sense.
mhm,
So I say that to say, God is the person that you are representing when you walk outside your door every day. So it's
mhm,
important for you to make a good impression on people, to look good, and to, really present yourself in a positive way, because that is how you bring people closer to God. To me, at least, that's how I do it. So just like I said before, what you wear and how people see you and your appearance, it brings people in. So we all have a light, and people are attracted to that light. And people are attracted to me because of how I show up, how I look, and how I present myself. And they stay because of what I'm saying out my mouth, or they stay because they can relate to me, or they stay because they love what I'm saying. So
mm,
if people are coming to me and they like, what I look like, and they're staying because of what I'm saying, I'm able to then share God with them. I'm able to then, really exude the type of confidence that is needed for me to show people what it looks like when you're a
mm,
believer. Or I'm showing people what it looks like when you are a child of God. Like, this is what a child of God looks like. We look good. And I feel like that's something that society has, or even not even society, maybe society, but even like a lot of like old school Christians. They're like,
mm,
oh, they don't want to charge for their services. They don't want to
mhm,
ask for money. They want to do everything for free because it's God's work. And like, no, it costs money. Like,
mhm,
charge your worth. Like, it costs money for you to show up as the expert that you are.
mhm,
Think of it as like being a gospel singer, or like a Christian singer or rapper, rather. It costs money to put music out. It costs money to create music videos. It costs money to really build a brand that will allow and attract the right types of people to who you are. So I know I kind of went on a tangent, but I say that to say, like, just because you follow God and just because you're a Christian doesn't mean that you can't look good and feel good and invest in yourself. It's okay to buy designer things. It's okay to buy expensive things. Like, God is giving you um the money or just the finances to be able to do that, to pour back into yourself and to also pour into others too. So I say that to say, just because, you're a believer doesn't mean you should look, you shouldn't care about how you're showing up. So I hope that
mm.
made sense.
Interesting, interesting, Kristen. And I like what you said about representation. So how I show up is a representation and a reflection of God.
Mhm.
So if
Exactly.
I'm not showing up properly, if I'm not showing up powerfully, I'm not representing God.
You're not.
Hmm, that's powerful. That's really powerful. You know, I also like to think about who God is. I think about how intentional God is about even creation. I mean, have
Mhm.
you ever thought about how beautiful the ocean is? How blue or green the sea is? How beautiful just staring at nature is? And you think if God can put so much detail in the trees, in the ocean, in the clouds,
Mhm.
if God can put so much detail, even in when it came to the ark, when it came to God giving Noah specification on how to build the ark, God was so specific with every inch, every single measurement. Then why would you think that when it comes to us, who God made in his likeness, in his image and likeness? You know, I think about this so many ways. I think about how
Mhm.
God even created Lucifer, who was supposed to be, who was supposed to be this angel of light, but of course
Mm,
turned it into something else. And God talked about how beautiful he was as an angel. God understands the concept of beauty. God puts beauty in everything. The streets of heaven are lined with gold. Like, what does it tell you about God? It tells us
mm,
something about God. And like you said, why should we represent him anyhow? Why should we just think that he doesn't care how we put ourselves together, how we show up? No, God doesn't care. As long as
yeah,
I'm studying him, as long as I love him, doesn't really care. Kristen is saying if you truly love God, if you truly love God, if you truly know God, then you wouldn't represent him. You wouldn't fall short when it comes to
mm.
representing God. I love so much that you brought it from that angle. Kristen. Thank you so much. Please drop those fire emojis because Kristen is literally like my brain is expanding. Kristen is dropping literal gems. Literal gems. Please drop those fire emojis, of course. I love to see them. I love, 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 love to see them. Please again leave your questions. Leave Kristen's um, Instagram as well, her link. Follow, leave my link as well. You can connect on Instagram. Kristen, are you on LinkedIn? If you're on LinkedIn, um, maybe you can say your LinkedIn handle. I know not everyone here is active on Instagram, so people can also
Yeah.
with you on LinkedIn.
So it's just my name, Kristen Johnson. I'm gonna type it in the chat now, but you
Um,
should be able to pull me up by my name. Um, and yeah, I can see if I can grab the link really quick as well too. Um, yeah, I'm able to do that. So I'll just grab that to make it easier for y'all.
all righty. Thank you, Kristen. So, Kristen, we've talked extensively about personal branding. We've talked about executive presence. We talked about personal style. We've talked about how your personal style and your personal brand can even impact your executive presence. And I'm thinking someone here might be thinking there's so much to do,
Mm,
especially human leaders here, right? We talked about the concept of time, how important it is to work smart because there's no time. We don't have
mm,
time. So someone might be thinking, okay, I know I want to have a powerful personal brand. But then I have to think about my style, executive presence. It just seems like so much. So what would you dial it down to if you were to give us 3 steps? And I know you gave us 4 steps for executive presence, for
mm.
4 things that can impact our executive presence. But if you were to break the whole package in three steps, how do we build, essentially, how can we build a powerful, compelling personal brand? Just 3 steps. What would they
Mhm.
be?
So the first thing that comes to mind is really shifting your mindset
Mhm.
about who you are as a person, why you were put on this earth, your entire makeup, your well-being. I know mindset is something that I always talk about because I feel like I know it plays a huge role into why I'm even here today. As a business owner, I can really speak on a lot of the challenges that come up as business owners, or even just as a professional, just everyday things that happen. And I know for me, the one thing that helped me to get through all of those things was my perspective and my understanding. Like things may look crazy from one way, but if we really sit back and think like, okay, well, this is probably happening because of this, or it's okay that this is happening because I know better is coming. Or,
Mhm.
just really switching up your perspective about your current circumstances. I know many of us may not be exactly where we want to be right now, but we're exactly where we are supposed to be. We're exactly where we're supposed to be. I've been doing this for over 10 years at this point, and it just feels like now I'm just truly getting to where, I I envisioned myself being years ago.
Mm,
And at times, it's going to take a little longer. So having that patience is going to take a little longer for us to accomplish our goals than others. Sometimes we may have to do certain things to reach our end goal that we may not want to do. But just keeping our eyes on the prize and just having faith in ourselves and having faith in what God has already said about us, it makes it easier for us to keep going. It's so many stylists that I connected with when I first started doing this that are no longer stylists anymore because they gave up. It was too hard for them. It was too hard. It was too challenging. They couldn't get with it. And I know for me, it was plenty of times where I felt like giving up. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I can do this anymore. This is a lot. This is way too much. Like, I didn't think that I needed to do all of this. But everybody's journey is created. God already planned our entire life out. So he
mm,
already knew that we were going to come against some challenges. He already knew we were going to have some struggles. Like it's just all a part of the journey. So when you shift your mindset and you kind of see it in a different perspective, it just makes you feel a lot better about your current circumstances, knowing that it's only temporary. 10 years may seem like a long time, but to God, like that's quick and fast. It's 2 seconds.
mm,
So, like you mentioned, like his timing and the way he conducts time is a lot different from how we understand it as humans. He's not a human, so he doesn't talk like us. He doesn't think like us. He doesn't do things the way that we do it. So a lot of what he does will not make sense to us in the real world. So I know a lot of people like to look at like reality or like, this is what it looks like. And it's kind of hard, but as a Christian or as a believer, sometimes you can't be realistic. A lot of what we think is realistic isn't, it's not how God sees it. Like he's supernatural, like he's not a human. So a lot of what he does supernaturally doesn't make sense to us as humans. So that's why it's important to shift your mindset and have faith. Having faith is another thing that I was going to add to the list of three things: shifting your mindset, increasing your faith. And how do I increase my faith, or how could you increase your faith? Um, Getting in the word, getting in the Bible and understanding who God is. And I know for me that was hard because sometimes the Bible was hard to understand. But it's 2024 and there's so many different like types and different like versions of the Bible. Y'all, I read the easy version so I can understand what's going on. I will Google words if I need to, and definitions of words so I can understand what I'm reading. But reading the Bible has definitely increased my faith, and being around other believers and really building community has also helped me to increase my faith, because a lot of the times we surround ourselves with people who, don't really see things the same way that we see things. And that's okay. Like, not everybody's going to see the same things or understand things in the same way that we see it. I get it. But if you surround yourself with other people who have faith and other people are like, I don't know how you're going to do it, but I believe that it's going to get done, it really helps to increase your faith. So that was something that I did back in the end of 2022. I joined a community of women called Increase 365. Some of my Increase 365 sisters were on here. And it just is helpful to have a community of women who have similar beliefs as you. And they, may not know how you're going to get there, but they know you're going to get there because it's all a part of God's plan, if that makes sense. So mindset shifting, can't remember the other thing. Oh, increasing your faith. The last thing I would say, I really can't think of anything else at the moment. Those are really the top two things. But if I think of a third one, I'll mention that. But those top two things I would say has really helped me to just be a better person and to really just have a better understanding of where I currently am so that I don't always compare myself to other people or feel like I should be further along than where I am, or all of the things, all of the lies that we tell ourselves.
mm,
So having those things, that the shift in my mindset and the increase in my faith, has really helped me to get here and to be in this position right now talking to y'all. So yeah, I'll think of a third one and share it with you.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Mindset is such an important part of transformation. And I know you can relate to that a lot. In fact, when you were talking, Kristen, I discovered that, I think our journeys are quite similar because even though I've been doing styling now, I've not been doing styling as long as you have, style coaching. I've been doing it now for a little over 5 years, but only full time in the past 2 years. And only very recently did I um, kind of discover who I was when it relates to my business or who I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
What did I want to represent? And even with my faith, just very recently, some of you follow me on social media. So some of you might have noticed on Instagram that very recently my content has kind of shifted as well because I discovered that God was taking me somewhere and it's something that I was not tuned in on early on in my work, in my career. You talked about people who had given up along the way, people who you knew that were stylists that are no longer. And mindset is such an important part. Even when it comes to your style, I know as a style savant that you are, it's something that's part of your work as well because it's part of mine. Everything starts first from the mind. I talk about how you can never achieve transformation if you don't first start from the mind because it all starts
Mm-hmm.
from here. And there's something you even talked about, even how you see situations, even how you see challenges. And it's
Yeah.
a shift that I recently had to make recently, Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
I think that as female leaders, we would be so much impactful, much more impactful if we looked at our challenges differently, if we even looked at things that we've been through, our experiences, our failures. And when I
Mm-hmm.
look back, I think I am here because of, not in spite of. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a mistake that people make sometimes. It's like, oh, I survived this. I went through this. I've been through some terrible things in my life. And maybe something, if you follow me on social media, I've talked about a time I was really sick. I was really
Mm-hmm.
ill, you know? And I think about how much that has impacted my journey. If
Yeah.
if I didn't go through that, I don't know if I would be here where I am. So it's important how we see our challenges, how we see our situations. When you see things as when you see where you are as when you see your challenges rather, when you look at your challenges and look back, instead of thinking, oh, in spite of the things I've been through, in spite of what I went through, here I am. No, you are here
Mm-hmm.
of because of
Mm-hmm.
that little shift in your mindset can change the game for you. So it's important how you see things. And I
Yeah.
love so much that Kristen talked about that. And it's also a very important part when you are even building your style. And Kristen, something I also want you to talk about. Do you think that as women, because in my work as well with clients, it's something that I think a lot of women struggle with. I think a lot of women want to be hidden. I don't know, it's a thing. I think a lot of women just want to stay in hiding. Why do you think that is, Kristen? Because to build a powerful personal brand, you have to come out. You have to come out of hiding. You cannot be in hiding. You cannot stay behind the shadows. Why do you
Yeah.
think that is, Kristen, in your experience working with women as well? Why do you think people want to hide? People have this, I don't want to be known. I don't want to. Why do you think that's a thing?
I think that's a thing because of fear. Women can
Mm-hmm.
sometimes be very fearful, and
Mm-hmm.
they can be fearful of a bunch of things, fearful of success, fearful of being on the forefront, fearful of, responsibility. A lot of the things too can also be shame. Like you're shameful of what you've experienced or even what you've done.
Mm,
And you feel like, if people find out that I did that, like they're not gonna
mm,
love me anymore, or they're not gonna like see me in the way that I want them to see me anymore. But like you have to acknowledge those things, which
mm,
it took me a while to, just like you said. I mean, I know you mentioned you've been doing this for 5 years, but you just now got into a space where, you're talking about mindset. Same for
mm,
me. I mean, it took me 10 years to figure that out because I'm
mm,
like, okay, I'm doing all the right things. I'm giving women what they ask for. I'm giving women what they want. Like I'm
mm,
doing everything. I have the skill set. Like I'm an expert. Like I know what I'm doing. Why is it that they're still not confident? Or
mm,
why is it that they feel like what I'm picking out for them, they can't wear or won't look good on
mm,
them? Like, why? Because I know that it will as an expert, but
mm,
why can't they see it in the same way that I'm seeing it? And I didn't understand at first. And I'm like, oh, it's not me, it's them. It's their
mm,
mindset. It's they're fearful of trying new things, or
mm,
they're afraid to look a certain way or wear certain things because of what other people may say. Or they're ashamed to show off certain parts of their body, or they're
mm,
ashamed to even wear certain colors. I had a client who told me that her father told her that as a child, like you can't wear color, like you can only wear neutrals. So for her
mm,
entire life, that's literally what she did was wear
mm,
neutrals. And she loved color, but was afraid to wear it because of something that someone else told her. So a lot of it has to do with fear and shame. And when you actually acknowledge those things, or where you actually take a step back and really think through, okay, what am I ashamed of? Or what am I fearful of? Then I personally think it makes it a lot easier for you to actually have that transformation,
mm,
which a lot of women are wanting. But it's like, it's not all on the expert to transform you. Like the expert is going to do what they came to do, they're going to do what they were paid to do. But it's also up to you to put in the work too, because this is your life. Like, as my client's life isn't mine. Like, although I want them to be happy, I want them to be confident, I want them to really accomplish their goals. I want good things to happen in my clients' lives. But like if they don't want that for themselves, then I'm just there. Like I'm not can only do but so much. I feel like
mm,
a lot of people put a lot of pressure on on us as service providers, on coaches or experts, industry experts. And it's like we know what we're talking about.
mhm,
And we're
mhm,
giving you all the tools and the resources that you need, but we can't change who you are. Like what we're doing is going to help you to change, but you actually have to want the change. You actually put in the work to change. Um, and that's what I feel like a lot of people don't fully understand. But to answer your question, I think fear and shame has a lot to do with it. And it's just a matter of like really figuring that out from the root, like what is the root cause of it, and
mm,
really taking it from there. And I mean, therapy also plays a part in that too. Um, I know my friend Jade, she was a therapist, but she also works in social work. So really asking for help and
mhm,
hiring professionals that will help you to shift your mindset and help you to like really break a lot of those limiting beliefs about yourself that you've put on yourself or that you picked up along your journey. Therapy definitely works.
mm,
And for those believers in the room, like God is great. Like he's amazing. You can read the Bible every day. We can also pray more, but we also have to put in the work too. I don't remember the verse that it is, but I know that faith without works is dead. So you can
yeah,
have faith all day, but if
mhm,
you're not doing your part, you're not really doing anything. So
mm, mm,
I hope
mm.
y'all received that.
Oh my God. Such gems Kristen is dropping. And I like, oh my God, we've even, we've dove so deep. We've talked about the concept of fear and shame. And Kristen, I can relate so much to that. I can relate so much to that. I just want to read what someone said here. Someone said, growing up, the young African girl is scolded for speaking up or expressing herself. That affects her confidence and visibility as an adult. I cannot tell you how much I was scolded as a
Mm,
child, because as a child, I had a very sharp mouth. I was a very inquisitive child. I just wanted to know. But how many times I got shouted down? Because it's not something that um you people maybe in the US might experience a lot. But here, Africans, there's this respect culture. So as a child, you don't question an adult. You don't ask unreasonable questions, right? Because a child is not supposed to be heard but seen.
mm,
And as women, I think it especially affects us. Men are different because the standards are different for men and women. Men could get away with almost anything, but women were held to a higher standard. So there is that shame. And Kristen, you
yeah.
even mentioned even shame of the things that we've been through or stupid decisions that we think that we have made. But
Mhm,
again, that mindset shift, seeing your present circumstance or where you are presently as I am here because of, not
yeah.
in spite of. Even thinking about starting my own personal brand, Kristen, I was so afraid. I was
Mhm,
so afraid. I was, oh, what would people say? Would people not think I'm trying too hard? That's another thing. Women don't want to be seen as trying too hard. And that's
yeah.
why when you talked about a client, you know this looks good on them, but they just do not see it. They just
Mhm,
do not see it. I think sometimes they see it, Kristen. They know that this looks good on me, but how dare I look this good?
yeah.
That's the thing. How dare I? Who am I to look this good? And so I find women putting in efforts into more things. You talked about even hiring the right hands. But sometimes because we as women, we want to do everything. There's something we're trying to prove within us. We want to
Mhm,
do everything. So even hiring, and I'm talking about this even from experience, even before I got a team, before I got people, because I knew how to do so much because I've done so much for so long. I thought, no, it has to be this way, but I was steadily burned out, procrastinating, not
mm,
achieving anything because I refused to get help. So it's something that we should learn. Kristen is telling us something really important here. Come out of fear, get rid of the shame. Whatever it is that you've been through, whatever it is, you deserve to tell your story. And we're talking about the concept of personal branding. All your
yeah.
experiences, they're important. They're important aspects, important parts. God intentionally made you go through these things. Someone is
Mhm,
talking about how you grew up as an African child. That is a tool. That is something you were silenced as an African child. That is something you can take as a tool and, use it to your advantage. I couldn't speak as a
mhm,
child, but I have a mouth now. I can speak as an adult. No one can hold me. So I'm going to
mhm,
share my story. So these are things that are very important. Kristen has even taken this thing beyond beyond the scope of what I even thought about. Oh my God. Ladies, I hope you are learning something very important here. You
mhm.
deserve to have a personal brand, a powerful personal brand. We're going to take questions. I'm sure, Kristen, you're going to have a lot of questions. But before we take questions, I would want us to wrap this up. I want us to wrap this up before we take questions. I know at time we're 30 minutes, no, even more than 30 minutes into our time, but it's been the energy here is really high. I just want us to quickly wrap up and then we'll take questions. So Kristen, we've talked about so much. What would you say are some common mistakes? What common mistakes can executives avoid, female leaders
Mhm.
here? What mistakes can they avoid when building their personal style? What are some of the pitfalls that's common, and how can they avoid these pitfalls when building the powerful personal style as well as personal brand?
Yeah, so of course I'm going to talk about it from a stylist perspective, but some of the things, I have three things here. You simply just don't care about how you look, how you're showing up. I feel like nowadays, with us being virtual a lot, working from home, only releasing the top half of you, a lot of
Mm,
people just don't care how they're showing up anymore. And we all know after today's conversation that it's important to care about
mm,
how you look because you're representing not only yourself, but you're representing your brand, your business, you're representing God. And when you show up for yourself, you're also able to show up for other people, for the
mm,
people that you're serving, for the people who you will potentially serve in the future. So, really making sure that you actually care about what you look like. Another thing is that you don't even try. Like you literally look the same every day. You don't even try to put on a nice outfit or add some color to your wardrobe. You
mm,
just don't care and you don't actually try. And like I mentioned before from the conversation we had today, we have to actually try, step out of our comfort zones, do something different. And it doesn't have to be crazy different. It can be just taking small baby steps and adding in color, adding in some print, really thinking about your personality and your preferences, what you like. What is your favorite color? If your favorite color is black, okay, what's your second favorite color?
mm.
Think about what your favorite color is or your second favorite color and incorporate that into your wardrobe. If you love animal print, wear an animal print shoe or even a bag or even some jewelry. Get your nails painted in animal print. Do some of the small things because details matter. Do some of the small things that make you feel just that much more confident compared to when you didn't do it. So I think that's something we need to think about. And the last thing is that you're allowing your clothes to wear you. So you're
Mm,
not actually wearing the clothes, you're
mm,
allowing the clothes to wear you. And that can mean a bunch of things. That could mean you're going for the wrong sizes and you're thinking you're a lot larger than what you are. So you're
mm,
being swallowed up in your clothes, or you're wearing all black or a bunch of neutrals. And it's just not really showcasing who you
mm,
are as a woman. A lot of my clients are very bubbly, very like eccentric, very excited, very happy. But when I look at them, all they have on is black. I'm like, well, black isn't a very happy color. But
mm,
maybe you should consider red, or maybe you should consider yellow. So don't allow the clothes to wear you. And also add some personal style into it. So it's
mm,
one thing to just put on a shirt and a pair of pants, but it's another thing to put on a shirt, tuck it in, add on a belt, maybe cuff your pants, zhuzh up your sleeves, unbutton some of the buttons a little bit, add some jewelry, add some bracelets, some rings, some earrings, put on a lipstick, put on some makeup, do something different, really add your own spice into what it is that you're doing, because that's what makes your personal style unique. That's what makes you unique. And that's one thing I didn't say before, but personal style is very subjective. Like there
mm,
is no right or wrong way to what you can put on and what to put together. I think women, and I know y'all are going to talk about colors tomorrow, but honestly, I think as women, we can wear any color. It really
mm,
just depends on the shade. So I'm not really big into like color analysis. And I don't want to say that that is a bad thing. I think color analysis is great. I think it's a great tool for people to use. But personally, at SCB Luxury Styling, you can wear any color. It really just depends on the shade. So really considering that too. But I say all that to say, really making sure that you are actually wearing the clothes and making it your own and not just allowing the clothes to wear you. So those would be my top three things.
mm. Very, 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 very powerful. Very, very powerful. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so much. I know some of you might be thinking how to work with Kristen, and I'm going to share that with you in a minute. But for those people that might be joining in late, would they may please keep dropping her socials and everything. We've learned so much today, so much. And I even love that Kristen talked about the concept of color, because personally, the color analysis sometimes might seem complex, but that's why what we're talking about tomorrow is how to find your power colors. We're talking about power colors. So we're not just talking about the usual color color palette and that. No, how can you find your power colors? Because as women in leadership, it's important for us to know colors that truly work for us, as Kristen has stated. Now, if you, we'll leave time for questions, but I know you might, there are people here that, yes, they've learned what we taught. They were here yesterday as well. Some people were here yesterday and learned a lot as well. But I know that some people want to go even further and even deeper. So I'm inviting you to join my style challenge. My style challenge, which is opening after the summit closes. And I just want to tell you a bit about that. So what's a style challenge all about? I hope you can see my screen. So the style challenge is a 5-day style challenge for female leaders looking to transform their style. Now, this is for you if you know you don't have the time to waste. You just want results and you want results fast because you don't have the time to wait. I'm inviting you to join the Style for Success Challenge. Now, what you get from this style challenge, you get my ultimate power outfit formula. Again, with all that we've been talking about, executive presence, personal branding, it's important as female leaders that you come up as powerful. And I don't mean powerful in the way you exact force actually. No, it's in the way you carry yourself. Someone should look at you and you look like a leader. So I'm going to be sharing with you a power outfit formula so that you can come up with outfit combinations. You can copy and paste my strategy, my proven style for success framework. Now, what this would help you do is you get out of the rut of not having what to wear. I don't know what to wear. I don't have what to wear. You want to go somewhere. You're always looking for clothes. You have a full wardrobe of clothes, but you don't have anything to wear, or you don't know how to create classic pieces for yourself. You don't know how to create pieces that are flattering for yourself. Kristen talked about body type, then mindset remodel. So how to get out of that mindset, how to finally come out of hiding and embrace visibility. That's what the challenge is about. Who is this challenge for? So if you are here, you're a corporate leader, you're a coach, you're an expert, you're a consultant, you run a service-based business. So if you have a product-based business and you're not the face of your business, maybe you don't post content on social media, you don't make videos, educational content about your product, this challenge is not for you. This challenge is for people with personal brands, whether online or offline. This is who this challenge is for. It's a 5-day challenge. It has 3 tiers: platinum, VIP, and regular. Udeme, please leave the link so you can learn more about this challenge. Also, I want to introduce you to Kristen's program. Kristen talked a lot about body shape, and it's something that's a very, very, very important part of your executive presence, of your brand, understanding your body shape. Kristen's body shape program, when I even saw the price, I was like, this is too cheap, because I'm a style coach as well, and I know how intense putting together body shape, body typing is. So if you are here and you really want to understand your body type in depth, $39 is chicken change for most of you here, I know. So for the gems that she has dropped, I can imagine how much more gems that Kristen is going to have in her program. So I would want you to get this. It's a very, very, very useful tool. Kristen, maybe you can tell us a bit of what to expect inside what's your shape course, your What's Your Shape e-guide, so people can know what they're getting.
Sure. So this is an ebook, ladies. So the Body Shape Bible is an ebook where I break down my body shapes. So I was talking earlier about how I didn't like the body shapes that society created for us. So I recreated them, made them a little bit more enticing, a little bit more digestible and positive for all women, no matter what size or what shape you are. I want you to feel beautiful and confident. So
Mm.
within this ebook, I'll be able to break down the 5 body shapes that I created. It shows you how to take your measurements in 3 easy steps. It also shows you or helps you to determine your ratio, so your body shape ratio. And with that ratio, you'll be able to determine what body shape you are. Now, some of you may fall into just one body shape, but it's very normal to have characteristics of 2 body shapes. And also, like I was talking about, our body shape is always changing, or our bodies are always changing. So this ebook is evergreen. So you can use it every quarter to retake your measurements every single quarter so that you could determine what body shape you are. And then towards the end of the ebook, there is going to be a link to my website. There's going to be a link for you to go to the next step. So that is to schedule a style breakthrough session with me, which is a 45-minute Zoom call where we talk through why you feel like you want to work with the Style Savant, what goals you have for yourself that you want to accomplish, why you want to change your style, why you want to hone in on your personal style. And we'll talk through all of that during that. So I hope you guys are able to grab the ebook. This is something that I put a lot of energy into. So I think it's a really, really great tool. I know it's a great tool. And it's something that I teach all my clients. So this is a little snippet of what it will look like working with me.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Kristen. So you can get the bundle. You can get Kristen's e-guide. Please drop Kristen's e-guide link, Demir. Drop it on the chat as well. We'll also have it dropped in the WhatsApp group as well. Please get it in combination with the style challenge. It's going to be a transformational tool. All the speakers for this summit were carefully curated. So anything you hear them say, any offer you hear them put out, it's something that you should grab, because you've heard her speak, you've heard her methodology, you've heard her reasoning, you've heard how she walks through problems, how she finds solutions. So it's something that I know. I was telling them, Kristen, that when I saw the price, I was like, this is a giveaway for body shape. Body shape is a very integral part of personal style. So it's a giveaway, literally. So get these. Modem is going to leave the link. You can go on the landing page for the style challenge to look that up. And then you can also get Kristen's ebook. So Kristen, I know a lot of people would have questions. I know people have questions. So I think maybe I should let me unmute people. Some people might want to speak, and some people might. So if you want to ask a question, what you do, just put your hands up, and then when we beckon on you, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. But if you don't want to speak, you can as well leave your questions in the chat and we'll read it to Kristen. All right, so who has questions? Let us go. If you have questions, please, you can put your hands up and then we will beckon on you to speak. Or if you don't want to speak, just leave your questions in the chat. So while we are waiting for questions to drop, I would like to know what one takeaway that you have had from today's session. Please leave that in the comment. One takeaway that you've had from today's session. All right, so Stella wants to ask a question. Stella, you can unmute yourself and ask a question.
Good evening, everyone. I'm saying good evening because of where I'm coming from. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can. We can hear you.
Oh, Thank you so much, Olere, and thank you for the speaker. Thank you so much. First, my body type determines what my style will be. So I'm really interested to know what this body style is and ready for a total makeover. Okay, my question is for me. I got this link late. So when I tried to join the WhatsApp group, it's saying that it's full. What can I do to
Okay.
join the WhatsApp group?
There's a second group that has been created because the first one was full. If you're here and you're not on the WhatsApp group, Udeme, please drop the link on the chat so people that couldn't join the first WhatsApp group can join the second one.
Okay, thank you so much. That's my question.
Oh, okay. All right, then. No problem. There's a question here, Kristen. Someone said, how can someone who has low self-esteem due to negative comments come out come out of that place?
So I think it's important to understand, or I guess unpack what those negative comments are. What are people saying that you feel as though help to lower your self-esteem? What are people saying about you? What don't you like what people say about you? But also, it's going to be a process, but also working on shifting your mindset too, and not really caring about what other people think. But I think first it's important to listen, like what are people saying? Why is what they're saying, affecting my self-esteem this way? What is it about me that's making me feel this way about what they're saying? And really unpack that. I know for a long time I struggled with my chest. Talk about this all the time. I have a very small chest as a woman. And as I was growing up, a lot of my friends they were blooming, they were growing, they were maturing, their bodies were maturing, and mine wasn't. Mine wasn't. I still look like a little boy, in my opinion. And it was something that, took a toll on my self-esteem. It was something that, made me struggle with my confidence. But the older I got, the less I cared. The more I got comfortable with my body, the less I cared. The more I surrounded myself with people who didn't look at any of that, the less I cared. So there are going to be some things that you don't like about your body. There are going to be some things that people comment on that is negative or that kind of plays a part in your self-esteem. But I think it's important to acknowledge what that thing is that, is making you feel less confident or is making you feel like you have low self-esteem about it and, really play it up. Now, I wear things that accentuate my chest. Now I'm okay with, really showing it off when I feel like it. And it took time. It's a whole process. Like people were saying those things when I was 11 and 12 years old. So for a long time, most of my life, I was worried about all of those things. But it wasn't until I got older, really understood who I was as a person and just really didn't focus on that. I focused on what I loved about my body as opposed to what I didn't like, quote unquote. And it made me a lot more confident in myself. And I focused on showcasing what I loved as opposed to showcasing what I didn't like. And eventually it got to a point where it's like, okay, I don't even care anymore. I'm gonna wear my low V-necks and I'm gonna wear my strapless tops or my halter tops, and I'm gonna love my body regardless. But sometimes you can't do that alone. Sometimes you need other people to help you. So building that community, like we talked about earlier, surrounding yourself with the right types of people, the right friends, and not really listening to those individuals who are saying those negative things about you. So that was a long, drawn out response to your question, but I hope that it was helpful.
And I like the response you gave, Kristen, because sometimes when you internalize the comments people make about you, it says more about you than it does about them. It says you haven't done the healing work. And I think, Kristen, this is the second time I'm saying it. I think our stories or our journeys are very similar because me too, I'm very small chested. I've always been skinny, and it's something that I was mocked for a lot. It's something I was laughed at a lot. people would call me long instead of tall, as though I was an object. And
Mm.
I so hurt, so angry those comments people would make about me. And I discovered that I'm feeling this way because of something. Do I really love myself? Do I really love my body? And it's something that you would relate to, Kristen, as a style savant that you are. You've come across this with your clients, because I have multiple times. And that's why when I'm working with clients, there are words I don't allow my clients call themselves. Don't call yourself fat. I don't want to hear it that I'm fat. I don't want to hear it that my tummy is too big. I don't want to hear it. I tell them, mind the way you talk to yourself, because it's a reflection truly on how you feel about yourself, truly. It's a reflection of how you feel about yourself. And personally, I don't believe in the concept of, even my plus size clients, I tell them, you don't need to lose weight before you look good. Yes, it's important to lose the weight to feel healthy, but feeling good, feeling confident is not a destination, it's a journey. And you have to understand that. You have to understand that I'm not where I need to be. I don't know what the comments people are making on your body or on you. I don't know what the comments are. If you're plus size and it's you're too fat, if you're skinny and it's you're too thin. I don't know what the comments are. But whatever the comments are, you have to start first. That's why we talk about the mindset. You have to trace it back. How do I really feel about myself? Do I really love myself? Because if I truly love myself, why should I care what anyone thinks about
Yeah,
me, right? That's very, very, very
exactly.
insightful. I don't know who asked that question again. I hope that answered your question. I hope that answered your question. I hope it did, because that was
Mm.
really, really insightful. Okay, Kristen, can you take maybe two more questions? I know you've spent so much time here, but can you take two more questions?
Of course, of course. I know I see some in the chat as well, so feel free.
Yes, yes, yes,
Ask
yes.
away.
Okay. Someone said, I work in a conservative/traditional industry. How do I manage my personal brand and professional brand? It feels like living a double life.
Mm. So one thing about me is that I've always loved fashion. I've always loved style, and that's something that has never changed. And I feel like as women, it's a lot of things that happen to us. It's a lot of things that we go through that are out of our control. But one of the things that we have full control over is what we wear every day and how we show up. And I deal with a lot of professional women, or I work with, not deal with, I work with a lot of professional women whose work environments are very traditional and conservative. And I've even worked in environments that are very traditional and conservative. And how I showcase my personality is through accessorizing, through my hair, through color. You can wear an all black suit and wear a pop of red as a top underneath your blazer. You can
Mm,
wear an all navy suit and have on a yellow shoe. Like, it's certain things that you can do to still be very professional and polished, but just different from what everybody else is doing. And I know nowadays, some people's work environments, it's kind of hard to get to grasp the concept of what the attire is. There's business professional, there's business
mm,
casual, there's power casual, there's casual. Like, it's very confusing for people who aren't stylists to really grasp the concept of, like, what does that mean? So professional to me is wearing things that are very clean cut, wearing things that are tailored,
mm,
wearing things that are appropriate for any type of work environment. And that means not showing too much of your legs, or not
mm,
showing too much of your chest or anything like that. So, choosing pieces that fall in line with that, but also align with like your preferences. So I think it's okay to say that you can still be professional and wear color. You can wear a colored suit. You can wear a colored blazer and balance it out with neutrals. You can wear
mm,
a print and balance it out with neutrals. and it's still very conservative. It's still very traditional.
Mhm.
It's just new age traditional, new age conservative. I feel
Mhm.
like times have changed. Like you don't have to just stick with a navy blue suit, a gray suit, and a black suit. You can branch out. You can do other colors and it still be deemed as professional.
Mhm.
So I would challenge you to start adding in some color wherever you see fit. Start accessorizing a little bit more, maybe playing around with your hairstyles. That was one thing that I always did. I always had a different hairstyle. Now I kind of keep the same type of hairstyle, but I used to have green hair, I used to have blue hair, and it would be styled professionally. It was just a fun color. Now, not every professional work environment will allow that, 100% understand. But the environment that I was working with or working in, it did allow that. As long as it was clean cut and as long as my hair wasn't like all over my head, it was polished and put together. It was just a different color than what you would normally see. And for me, I love that because it allowed me to still be myself. I know you mentioned you feel like you're living a double life. You definitely don't want to find yourself conforming to what, everybody else is doing. Find yourself and show up as yourself, but just add in those professional elements so that you don't feel like, you look crazy when you're coming to work, if that makes sense. So play around with color, play around with prints, but still tie it into that tailored kind of classic feel of being business professional. So I hope that was helpful.
I hope that answered your question. I'm trying to look for, okay, favor. I hope that answered your question. Um,
Yes, yes, thank
all right. I think, okay, favor, this is favor's question again, but then any former is raising her hand. Any former, what do you want to ask? I know you've been asking about, I'm seeing that you asked about,
Hi.
hi, any former.
Hey.
Hi, good evening from Nigeria. I am super excited about this. I'm sure I spoke to Olere about it, and it's just too exciting. And every new speaker just unleashes their individuality and, brings in different kinds of gems. And I'm really loving this. And I want to say well done to Olere and to you, Christine. You sound like a Nigerian in, I don't know, it looks like you're kind of Nigerian. I don't know if Olere feels the same way, but I feel like you're kind of a sister, but you're just in a different location. So my question really, I have kids, and before I had kids, I used to have this very flat stomach, like sweet 16 figure eight. People still say that I don't look my age, which is a compliment. But I get very I don't like the way how there's a they call it I think it's the pouch or the pooch. I don't know what they call that thing that when you give birth, the round thing there. So it just comes out. And so if you didn't know me before, you would wonder if I was pregnant. Maybe I was like 2 months or maybe just 1 month. And it makes me feel a certain way, So there are clothes I don't wear that I would love to wear. For example, you were talking about blazers. I have a lot of blazers because I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, so I attend events a lot. So I wear blazers. But when you wear a blazer, there is this gown, this straight gown that you can wear in it that just makes the blazer sit properly. Those kind of gowns, I can't wear them without feeling like, oh, my stomach. So I tend to navigate towards peplons and things that remove that attention from my stomach. I was really wondering if you or Olere have like tips to be able to wear such dresses or still wear those chic tops, because I have seen people that don't really mind their stomachs protruding. They're like, oh, and they have bigger stomach. They're like, why are you bothering? You don't have stomach. I'm like, I have, because I know that I came from flat stomach to what I have now. So do you have any tips for people like me that have that problem with their stomachs that will still make them look chic?
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I wanted to give one tip. Our undergarments play a part in how our clothes fit. So making sure you have the proper undergarments, shapewear, all of those things were created to help us to smooth out those things that we don't want to accentuate. And there's so many different types of shapewear, whether you do the shorts, whether you do the undies, whether you do the full bodysuit. I know it can get hot where you guys are, so I would definitely suggest maybe not the full bodysuit, but maybe just the shorts or the undies to really just give you that extra support in your midsection until you're able to, get back to where you were, or even just get to a space where you are fully confident in your body. I think shapewear is definitely going to be a game changer if you aren't already wearing that. Um, and also, too, like you mentioned, wearing styles that don't necessarily accentuate your midsection. So, wearing things that have some type of flounce or movement, even sizing up. Like, I feel like women nowadays are so afraid to size up. Now, I wear a lot of high-rise bottoms, so a lot of high-rise pants, shorts, and things of that nature because that's just what I love. And I think it gives me the added support. But sometimes my little pouch comes through too. And sometimes getting the size that I would normally wear doesn't always work in certain fits and certain brands and fabrications. So sizing up also helps for it to just flow over my midsection and just fit the way that I want it to fit. That makes me feel confident. So sizing up is a good tip if you feel like that's necessary for you. And of course, shapewear as well, I think will help.
Hmm, hmm. Okay, and just to add to that, I think a very important aspect too would be truly understanding your body type, especially now that your body has changed. Because let's face it, our body, as women, our body changes with age, with childbirth. So it's you adjusting now what works for your body right now, as opposed to what used to work for your body. So I think, again, please, any former, sign up for the style challenge. It's something that would be really helpful because personally, you talked about peplon. Personally, one of the things that drove me into styling was when I was trying to figure out styles for myself. Personally, I hated peplums. And peplums were the first thing that would come from my category. If you don't have any curves, wear peplums. And God knows I hated peplums with a passion. I don't have any peplum anything because I just don't like them. And so when we talk about the concept of style, even when Kristen talks about the concept of understanding your body type beyond the conventional, beyond I'm apple shape, I'm banana shape. No, it's deeper than that. So it's understanding what works specifically for you, but more importantly, it has to fall in line with what you like. It has to be in alignment with what you like. So it's a very important question that you asked. But I think understanding your body type, especially now, and understanding the nuances inside that body type. So maybe, yes, you used to have a flat tummy, and maybe your body shape is still the same, but then that tummy pouch has brought a bit of nuance to your body type. But knowing how to walk around that is something that you need. So sign up for the style challenge. Get Kristen's body shape Bible. It's going to answer your questions, basically. We've learned so much. Please, if you loved today's session, you should not miss tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we are talking about how to unleashing your power colors, how to use colors as a leader, as a coach, as an expert that you are, to command attention and respect. Again, it's about finding colors that work for you, your power colors. Those will be your power colors. So tune in tomorrow. Don't forget to get the sign up for the start. Oh, I forgot to mention there's an early bird offer, and the early bird offer is you get my lifestyle and outfit calendar. Now, that's a calendar that I would usually sell for what, $40, $35. I'm going to give you complimentary to get the early bird offer. What that calendar helps you do is it helps you plan your outfit according to your lifestyle, because what some of you might experience is clothes sit in your closet and you don't wear them. Why? Because they do not work for your lifestyle. So if you haven't dialed down the outfits that work for your lifestyle, you're going to struggle with that. So that's what I'm given. If you get the early, if you catch the early bird. So, and the early bird expires the day the summit ends, which is on the 14th. So if you get if you sign up for the style challenge now, between now and the 14th, then you get that complimentary. You get the outfit and lifestyle calendar complimentary. Also, don't forget to get Kristen's Body Shape Bible. It's something that's very, very important and essential to answer lots of your questions about what works for you as well. Please, I want you to say a very big thank you to Kristen. People have been asking about a replay. Kristen, should we give them a replay? Because I wanted everyone to be here present. So if you're not here present, people that are not here, why should we give them a replay? Why should we give them a replay? Because how do I single out only people that were here now to give a replay? People that were not here, but I know, of course, people might not have been here due to unforeseen circumstances. So on that ground, you would get a replay. There's going to be a replay. It might not be available today, but tomorrow it should be available tomorrow. So you get a replay. Definitely. Please say a big thank you to Kristen. Say a big thank you to Kristen. Kristen has been amazing. She has poured her knowledge into us without holding back. So say a big thank you. I want to see those thank yous in the comments. Say a big thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, y'all. I appreciate it. I'm so happy to be here I didn't realize we were going to be talking for so long, but it's so hard to just stop, because so much we could talk about, so much we can cover. So I'm so thankful. I'm very full. And I hope that what I talked about and what I shared is really helpful to you all. So thank you again for your support.
Thank you so much, Kristen. We'll draw the curtains here now. We've had a really very, very packed night. We've had a very insightful night. Thank you, ladies, for indulging. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much, Kristen, again. Thank you so, so much. All right,
Thank
everyone, have a lovely night rest. I know it's not 9 time where Kristen is. Kristen should be what? 4 p.m. your time?
Thank you so much.
About
Thank you.
4:17. Yes.
Okay. Have a lovely
Thank
evening.
you.
Good night, everyone.
Good
The rest
night.
will be available tomorrow. Bye.